So something I've been working on in my own swing is trying to get everything in my backswing to reach the top simultaneously, rather than what I have a habit of doing is I'll get my hips turning early and they're already turned open all the way and my hands are only halfway back, and you'll tend to not finish your backswing and kind of like get a little jump start and it throws your timing off. So the feel that I've been having is that I don't turn my hips, and hovering the club has really helped for this. So if I hover the club and just feel like it's my shoulders taking the club back instead of starting with my hips like this, I feel like I keep them still. But what happens is by the time I get halfway back, to keep going, my hips have to turn open anyway. So it's just the feeling of not letting my hips go in the beginning, but they end up going anyway just because of my shoulder turn. It forces it to turn. And then that way, everything gets to the top at the same time, and you can start your downswing with everything connected, rather than one thing getting there first, then the club, then you start your hips, then the club's behind the hips. You can keep everything as one unit and working together. You're gonna find a lot more consistency in your swing. That wasn't very good. Let's try another one. I haven't hit very many balls today. It's like 25 degrees in here. That's probably just a little cut. That's usually my standard shot if I just don't think and swing. It's fairly straight to maybe a cut. Some days, you know, your swing changes. Some days I'm more naturally hitting a draw, some days it fades. But I've always been a player who really enjoys shaping the ball. So I generally hit the most appropriate shot for the situation. And it's worked well for me. That being said though, when it's kind of a 50-50, you know, you could draw it or you could fade it, it really doesn't matter. I tend to lean more towards a cut. It's a lot more accurate, I feel, and controllable. It might take a few yards off, but it's a game of how many, not how far. Love those little cuts. Yeah, it's hit some draws too, though, just to level it out. Some nice little draws, not big hooks. Okay, a little back in my stance, close everything. Oh, felt nice. Oh, man. My neck is stiff. Slept funny last night. That's another thing I love about golf is I get stiff and sore a lot, but you know, after just hitting some balls, my body feels so much better. Better than, you know, I'll work out, lift weights, do cardio, all that, that helps, but then I'll pick up a club and I still feel, you know, a little stiff after my workout routine, and by the time I hit 30, 40 balls, then I finally can feel loose. I've had injuries on both of my shoulders, multiple dislocations, broken collarbone, a lot of stuff, injuries. So I actually didn't play golf for almost 3 years. The whole time I was, you know, paying attention to the game, watching it, keeping close tabs on what was going on in the golf world. So last summer was my first year back after not playing for a while. Not too bad. I think my low round was 65. 165. I shot a whole bunch of 67s last summer, which I was pleased with. I've definitely gone, you know, I have some 61s and a bunch of 62s and 63s in the past, but for not playing for almost 3 years, that's 65 and 66s, a bunch of 67s I was happy with. This summer though, all winter I've had this net to be able to keep my swing sharp. And this next summer I'm really looking forward to playing more competitive golf and getting my game back to where it was. There was a point in time I could show up to any course and, you know, the classic, what's the course record? I was breaking par on any course, anywhere, whether I'd played it before or not. I just had, you know, I had the game and the confidence. It's still there, but, you know, now I've been shooting closer to level par than 4 or 5 under par on the good days. So I'm just trying to get back to that 4 or 5 under on the good days. It honestly feels funny. It probably doesn't look like I'm doing anything in my swing, but trying to stop my hips from turning it's a trip. It's definitely a timing that I'm not used to, but I'm determined to get that ingrained. I'm hitting like crap because of it. It just doesn't. That's okay though. Don't be afraid to hit the ball bad when you're trying to make fixes to your swing, because it's going to happen when you're trying something new. Even something as simple as changing your grip. A lot of people, you know, have a strong grip and maybe they're changing into a more neutral grip. That's hard to do. I remember having a strong grip when I was young and working. It probably took me an entire summer to finally feel comfortable holding the club properly in a more neutral position. Now I don't even think about it. It just that's where my hands go. It feels right in the proper place because I just practice and practice and practice. And that's what I'm trying to do right now with this backswing, where I'm hovering the club, trying to not let my hips start my backswing, but rather my arms and shoulders start my backswing, and then my hips follow, not vice versa. Let's see if we can hit a good one with a new hip turn. Oh yeah. Time to focus a little bit. Talked about this in other videos, but having a pre-shot routine, just getting in the zone before you're about to hit a golf shot, is key, especially on the course. Starting to feel better. The hovering of the club is what's getting me. It's not that hard to do, just to hover the club in the beginning. It's a different feel. I feel like I keep catching it thin. Because I'm so used to having my club resting on the ground and delivering it to that same spot, instead of hovering it and delivering it to a lower spot. That's okay though. I'll get used to it, and if I keep practicing in time, it'll just become ingrained and be my natural swing. So the lesson there is, don't necessarily let contact or how you're hitting the ball when working on things dictate whether you think it's a good move or not. You know, just because I tried something different and I hit a terrible shot doesn't mean I shouldn't keep trying to improve in that area. It just takes a lot of hard work and grind. It's a 4-iron, by the way. Nice low one. It's a trap one here. I love that shot. I know I've said this before, but out on the course, a majority of my shots, I'm usually trying to knock down a little lower than standard trajectory. I hit the ball high, naturally, but being able to control that trajectory helps so much, whether through the wind or just how the ball reacts when it lands. Just hitting a high towering shot often isn't the best play, but it's certainly nice to have that high towering shot when you need it. It's another thing I think that cut helps with. It's a little easier to get height on a cut over a draw. Let's try a nice high cut here.